Welcome, Pipsters. We are back at it again with another wonderful podcast for you all. We are hitting the past, which is going to be delving into what we have currently experienced. Isn't that right, Monk?
It is indeed right, Reggie. The understanding of the present and how it affects the way we perceive the past in all ways, shapes and forms. We welcome you to the Pip Adventure, episode 10. It's been a long way.
Already?
Yes. What? Yes. 10. We're alive. We survived. We haven't been taken down for content infringement as of yet. Fantastic.
Not yet.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. We've got to feed the cats and keep ourselves bathed and living in this lovely home which there's lights and running water, damn it.
Sorry.
I can't go back to the homeless shelter. Bad memories. Okay. As we were saying, the past
Yes.
is a fascinating thing. Throughout ages, throughout different cultures, throughout history, there have all been different interpretations of how to understand the past, that which has happened, the stories of ancestors, the passing on of old wisdom and old traditions, all which have formed the structural and cultural foundations of who we are today. And so this is what we really want to dive into, and among 1,000 other things, see where it leads and see what we can bring to the Pip community today.
Indeed. I mean, it's definitely an interesting topic to be discussing, because we're going to be going into a little bit of detail, I would say, with some of our personal past experiences, or at least we can go as deep as we can with those. Obviously, we can't be too book-ridden, because obviously we don't have a very deep understanding ourselves of the psychology of the past, but we can try and use our personal experiences to aid maybe you to open some awarenesses in your own life, to maybe register certain past experiences you might be afraid to look into. So I'm going to kick it off.
Smash it, brother.
And
let's go for it.
Start with some past experiences that maybe some individuals might not have experienced, but for those that have, I sympathize, and I sincerely hope that you have come through it all. And that is about being bullied. Now, myself, I have been bullied, as well as yourself, you said as well, Monk.
There's been times, never physical as such, but there was always psychological, manipulative, emotional quite a bit
bullying.
of that.
So even cyberbullying through the internet depends on obviously what you've been through, what platforms you've been on, what people you've been surrounded yourself by, etc. For myself, the bullying that took place was in boarding school in the UK. Now obviously, Monk, you know the story. I've told it to you a couple of times. But these past experiences, you might be wondering, could you go back in time and stop being bullied? No, I would never do that. You might be asking yourself why right now. And that's simply because it's built me to be the person I am today. I am as strong as I am because of those experiences. And you know what? If any of those who actually did bully me in high school are watching this, I encourage you to keep watching, because then you can actually see what kind of character you have made me become. So thank you. And I don't encourage anyone to ever feel that regret of having these experiences, because it's what makes you you. You need to find a way of accepting what has happened and really sort of counter this experience with being so positive that you can actually be 10 times better. Just running on my own experiences that has sort of happened in the past, but going by some of your past experiences, Monk, what would you say has actually encouraged you as well to become a better individual?
We're talking about large-scale events which happened, which had the biggest...
Not necessarily, just any.
At
the moment, so something that has occurred in the past life that has aided you to becoming a better person today. Any. It could be minor, it could be major.
Is realizing that what many spiritual and religious folk would have called throughout the ages some aspect of faith.
Okay.
As you were saying earlier, Reg, this understanding within ourselves, this acceptance of whatever happened, and then there's a way that we can not only adapt to, but utilize said uncomfortable situations, painful situations, trauma, suffering, even outright loss of loved ones in horrendous catastrophes, to as the old word would have been, to transmute, in a sense, which means literally to transform in a way, to find some way of transforming a highly negative experience into a positive one, all through the reframing of the problem in one's mind.
Right.
All through trying to realize, like, okay, let me give an example to this because it's quite theoretical.
It'll be helpful.
As of recently, especially, there was a lot of overwhelm, a lot of mental, to be fair, self-hatred, a lot of very, very dark, very dingy stuff going through my head about myself, my abilities, what I'm capable of. Very, very unhealthy mental environment for anyone to live in. But it was, as of recently, something clicked in me which said, you know what, this pressure which I feel upon myself to do well, to get things together, there's 1,001 reasons for it to get done, but it's the faith that I've chosen in many ways the hard life. But at the same time, I don't want it to be the case that I'm self-sabotaging myself by purposefully throwing additional pressure onto my shoulders that I don't need. And so it's been coming to the understanding of, how does one have faith enough to say, whatever mental shit I'm going through now, it's up to me to find a way of making good on this.
100%.
It's like, thank goodness, thank God, thank the universe that this happened right now, because now I get to make something better from it.
100%.
Another practical example, quick, is, so I was watching, what was it? It was a YouTube video today, by the organization called Mind Valley. Heads up to Mind Valley, you guys do some awesome content. And so it was a gentleman speaking about the various stages of acceptance. And it's the first step is a certain awareness that certain experiences are happening. You got to actually be aware of the anger, be aware of the hatred, be aware of whatever resentful, dark, dingy shit is going on.
The initial process of understanding what is that action.
Yeah. Going within oneself, as we were mentioning off camera, and really centering oneself on what's just happened in the recent past and saying, why am I feeling this way? What am I feeling? What is my body trying to tell me? And so through that initial awareness, we then lead to a second step, which is a step of gratitude. And he says it's easy to be grateful for the good things in life, for the roof over our head, the bed we sleep on.
It's very easy.
The nice things that happen. But he says, how grateful are we? And he doesn't use these words, but for the dog shit, for the pain, for the suffering, for the trauma, for all the heartbreak and chaos. To say, thank you, God, thank you, goodness, thank you, universe, whatever you believe in your heart and soul. Thank you that this happened now, because it came here to teach me something, and I have the choice of using this for good or bad. And it's almost like this underlying faith that no matter what happens, there is some aspect of control that I have.
Yeah.
And to yourself as well, Reg, you've, I believe in your own life, implemented this, or at least had this running at the base of your consciousness to say, whatever happens, you're here to thrive, you're here to prosper, do what you can to make your world better, control what you can, and help others.
Yes. I mean, acceptance is, it aligns itself nicely with the past. And I'll jump into my point and my examples very quickly after this very short break, which we'll be having.
We'll be back in a bit.
And we're back. So, what we're going to be going on very quickly, like I mentioned before the break, is simply how the acceptance aligns itself with the past. So if you're willing to build yourself and you're looking to actually aid your progression in life, I personally, and I'm only giving this example purely because this is how I've dealt with my own past, and as you've all heard, I seem to be doing pretty well after the shit that happened, really. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has happened in my past that I have grown quite nicely from. And Monk yourself, you know quite a few of the
But you've taken
tough
the shit and
situations.
you've turned it into fertilizer.
I've turned it into gold, my friend.
Huh?
I've turned it into gold.
Brother, if you can
And-
shit gold, you need to get a prize. And tell me what you're eating. I want to know what the vitamins are, because I want that gift myself, bro. Huh?
I mean, we're eating the same food now, pretty much, so...
What is this magical digestive system? It is the power of Reginald. It runs within him.
It is the what is it?
The Midas touch.
Midas touch, there we go. This is
Oh
what we
my
were
God.
speaking about yesterday, in fact.
Fuck.
But anyway,
That's
we're going
perfect.
slightly off.
But that's perfect. The Midas touch, the ability to, as the old stories go, of taking whatever shit that happened to us and turning it into gold. Whatever
Exactly.
mistake we made and turning into something.
And that's
Amazing.
what I was trying to put my point onto, is the fact that I've been able to use these traumatic, tough experiences in my life in the past, including the bullying, including multiple other things, heartbreaks, messed up situations. With this Midas touch, let's say, I've been able to turn these hard experiences basically into building blocks so that I can really become a much healthier person mentally and physically. And so right now, today, you all see Reginald, or as some people know me, Scotty, but I am extremely grateful for everything that's happened, and I wouldn't change a single second of my past life, purely because if it didn't and it changed, right now what I have, I wouldn't have had it, because it could have changed a whole load of things. The knock-on effects that have occurred throughout my life, they've happened for a reason, and they've led me to where I am. Now, a lot of people might not be believing in this whole concept of it's the path that we are meant to be on. Well, in a way, if you're willing to accept whatever's going on, you're accepting the fact that there is a path for you to follow. So therefore, you do follow that mindset in a way, which is technically a religious mindset, because it's like, well, God has set this path for me, so I'm going to walk on this path. Therefore, whatever happens, happens. So even if you're not a religious person, but you're simply thinking, whatever happens, I'm going to go along with it because that's what's meant to be. Well, if you're discriminating on religion or even just Christianity, you're kind of contradicting yourself in a way, because that's one of the main things that God teaches people. Accept the path that you are on, because this is the one that I've set for you.
Fuck, right. It's within all the old stories of, again, embracing whatever happens, whether it's Noah who gets told of this mighty quest that he must undertake to build an ark, or Joseph who was told that while he was sitting in the dungeons of the Egyptian pharaoh, that he should in fact help the pharaoh to prepare Egypt and the surrounding lands for the 7 years of plenty and then the 7 years of hunger. Or Jesus, who on the cross, as he's being forced to drink urine and vinegar, and he's got the crown of thorns on his head, and he has this Roman soldier that came up and stabbed him in his side, and then he has the two thieves next to him, one of which says, so where's your God now? Where's your God now, Messiah? You on your cross. And all these figures throughout history were like, or at least within the biblical context, were embracing the challenge that was put before them. And only through embracing that challenge were they able to almost click into gear in a way, almost to unlock a new set of gears that they never previously had access to. just because they had to be able to say, this is what's happening now. This is what's in front of me. This is the problem. Now what's the solution?
Exactly.
Something we need to...
learning that acceptance.
Yeah.
And some people might believe it's extremely hard to understand acceptance or even comprehend accepting failure or past rejection, anything like that, because it's a traumatic experience. However, if you learn to sort of just say to yourself, yeah, that's happened, now how am I going to deal with it? It's almost going to be a switch which you're going to be turning on. And I'm not saying this as a preach to say you need to be doing this. This is simply my own advice from how I've dealt with it personally, and it has worked. So I encourage you to try it. I'm not saying it will work. I'm not saying it's foolproof, but I know for myself it worked very, very well. So therefore I encourage you to try it out. And if it does work, I'm very, very happy, because that means it allows you to move on and actually move further with your life, because you're now using those traumatic experiences as building blocks to slowly push yourself onto a platform that you are capable of being on.
Right. And again, through the act of accepting one's current circumstances, we inevitably run into a bit of a problem, which is many times we may begin to, for example, go into our past, and this is a mistake I've done before, fellas. So again, this is learn from the dude who fucked it and made this mistake, but thank goodness it happened. Thank goodness it happened. It's like a catch on a big for milk. So many times we may go into the past and say to ourselves, oh, you know what, if I can understand my past well enough, I can avoid all future mistakes, and I'll figure out, if I can just trace the origin of the string far back enough, the same way if you have a thread on your t-shirt that's coming undone. If I just unravel the string far enough, maybe I'll get to the point where it comes off. Cool. Oops. And it don't work that way, because if we analyze the past for the sakes of analyzing the past, we get caught up in a cycle of negativity. Because as much as cognitively and on the surface we may think to ourselves, oh, but I'm analyzing my past, so therefore I'm going to understand my mistakes. Oh, that's where I went wrong. That's what I need to do next time. Careful. Be very, very careful. Because what this action does is, if there is no positive action that is then immediately applied in that moment to fix the past error, then there are no, and this leads on from the last series on positive seeds, there are no new positive seeds planted within the field of your mind. It's all good to think certain thoughts, but until they are acted on, until there is definite progress implemented towards the attainment and achievement of one's goals and one's desired thoughts and one's desired emotions, only then do we start planting these subconscious seeds. Because by purely delving into the past for the sakes of delving into the past, bitching and moaning about, I could do this better, I could do this better. Yeah, you could do it better, fucker. Then do it better. And this is, again, the mistake I made, and yourself and Moose Rampage and many others have told me this hundreds of times, is talk all you want, but all that's doing is plucking the weeds of your past, or snipping the weeds of your past. Because if there's no new seeds being planted, actual positive seeds, then you're just going around the same field pulling out the same weeds that you pulled out last week.
And you're stuck with what?
You're stuck with negativity, you're stuck with soil that's being unused, you're losing time. And so if you're going to analyze your past, do it with the curiosity to say, how do you productively jump in there? Where do you find
the problem? And how are you going to utilize that problem to becoming a solution? Where is the solution coming from? So, yes, go into your past. Think about what you have done. Think about what people have done to you. And not only just think about it, but think of how it's helped you. Where have you gotten in your life because of those experiences. So look at it in a fluctuating way, that it's a positive thing that it's happened to you, because you are who you are today. And if it had not happened, you would not be the person you are. And that's what I kept reminding myself when I was analyzing my past. So maybe use those little pointers we've given to try and aid yourself in your past analysis. And yeah, pip it up. But thank you very much all for listening. It's been a pleasure chatting about
fellas,
the past.
Could we add in just one little 20-second caveat of additional little boost here? So, Reg, you mentioned at the very beginning the importance of, and maybe I'm butchering this, but the importance of each of our perspectives and each of our mentalities on life. So, yeah, we may be young, we're not the most theoretically based in this, we haven't practically experienced all the knowledge of the world, but again, likely neither yourselves. But does that stop any of us from attempting to find the truth, whatever that truth may be? Your perspective has meaning. Your existence has meaning. No matter what you've been through, no matter what trauma you've been through, no matter what pain, suffering, what you've been made to think, the fact that you're on this video today, unless you're bored, probably not. You're probably here for some reason to try grasp something, some straw of insight. You're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. And your perspective matters. So go out there and, ideally as humbly as you can, share it with someone else. Ask them to share theirs with you. And find something new, guys. This has been Reggie and Monk. You want to finish off?
Please don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any comments at all, please drop a comment below. And if you like this video, guys, please just give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you think someone else is going to benefit from listening to this as well,
throw it at their face!
Yeah. Or simply send it to them through a link, maybe. Cheers.